What is going on, guys? This is another reaction video for this week. We are actually going to be going into, let's see here. It's going to be Project Fear. Basically, in this one, what they're doing is they're going up to Madison Seminary. The one thing that I'm not going to bore you guys with, because, well, I'll be honest, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, is basically they don't even get into the video for like the first 15 minutes. So like the first 15 minutes is like them talking about the place and you know, doing some advertising, which is fine, but you know, with that said, it's not really necessary for me to even go over all of that, only because when you really think about it here, it's just all they're really doing is doing like a metaphysical thing. So they always play music behind them, like introducing the place, and I don't have a problem going through the history with the place. I really don't. Like, I think, you know, it is necessary. But with that being said, it doesn't take 15 minutes to go through the history of a building and basically tell you what was happening there and what wasn't. So to save a little bit of time on my end, I'm definitely not really gonna. I'm just gonna jump in basically about in about 16 minutes or so. And yeah, about 16 minutes. So it's specifically 16 minutes 11 seconds is when I'm jumping in. Only because, one, I really don't. So like it's one thing, right, to tell the story of a place. It's another thing to actually do reenactments and other things to basically what they're doing is they're trying to manipulate you, and they don't stop there. Obviously, none of these paranormal investigator teams do. There are some exceptions, you know. There are a few that, like, okay, some things that happen are interesting, but again, like, is it really necessary, you know, for the context of me trying to show you guys the different things that they do? Well, yes and no, but in this case, no. Like I said, the first 15 minutes is not just them advertising about their sponsors and them telling you the history of the place. But it's not the fact of them telling you the history, okay? It's the fact that they're trying to manipulate you while you're hearing the history of the place. And like, we don't need their commentary, okay? Because they're going to say, yeah, this place is spooky, I can't believe it went through all these different things. But like, I'm originally from Ohio, guys. Like, this is something that it wasn't close to me as far as where I grew up at. I'm from Northwest Ohio. This is the northeastern part of Ohio. So you're talking 4 or 5 hours away, you know, for me, where I was from. But being the fact that I grew up in Ohio, I have heard all these different stories multiple different times. You know, I had the old Haunted Ohio book, so I do know the place that they're talking about. But let's just kind of go into it, guys, and kind of go from here, because I'll be honest, there's probably going to be a lot to cover. I'm only going to try to talk when I need to talk and I have a need to explain to something. I just want you guys to see my natural reaction, I guess, to what Project Fear is doing. So they're at the Madison Seminary, which doesn't. It basically started out. I'll give you a little bit of background because, again, I'm skipping over theirs. It started with being a school. Over the course of years, it changed hands from private companies to the state. And it basically became a psychiatric ward at some capacity. And I don't remember the exact year that they stopped. It was in the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But it's essentially one of these buildings that supposedly has thousands of deaths in it over the course of like 150 years. So again, like, yes, we need to know the information, but I'm not gonna sit here and put you guys through the whole idea of being manipulated, you know, when it comes to having music and stuff behind it that's emotionally triggering you to have an emotional reaction. So, like I said, we're gonna start it at 16 minutes. So 16 minutes, right? Like, that's a lot of time when you're thinking about a video here. That 16 minutes that you basically hear them do an advertisement, and they do a little round table reading of the history and then make commentary towards that. That's a lot of time when you're talking about a video, okay? That's an hour and 9 minutes long. Think about that. You know, that's a good chunk of the video right there is them doing that. So, without further ado, let's put this up on the screen here. And let me shrink myself down a little bit here so you guys can see a little bit more. That should be pretty good right about there. And you know what? Let's move it up to the top, unless that's going to be in the way. Hopefully not. But if it is, I will adjust. All right. So they start this at, as you guys can see, at 9:14 p.m. And again, like, just keep in mind, I've already went 16 minutes into the video, and they're just now getting into their investigation. So let's check this out, guys. Let's hope for the best. But I'll tell you right now, I don't have high hopes. I've only seen about a part of this video. Lydia helped me kind of come across it yesterday. So without further ado, let's just get into it. All right. So here we go.
Main cottage side. I have a bunch of equipment in my backpack, so if stuff starts happening and we start feeling anything, we'll just break out equipment and go from there. We'll just...
All right, so the first thing right off the bat, they're not going off of the whole idea of being scientific necessarily. They're talking about feeling. Just keep that in mind as this goes on, because I'll be honest with you, your feelings don't really matter when you're trying to do a scientific investigation. So, with that being said, just keep that in mind.
Follow our guts.
Watch out for the shadow figures, Dakota.
Thanks, Al.
Yep. I'll be back here.
So this is technically the basement. This is where Chelsea slept. Chelsea, last time we were here, you were laying right there, and it was by this window that you saw the shadow.
Yeah, it was right next to this window. And this is the same room where it said that somebody's buried underneath.
Yeah. Should we go quiet for a second to see if anything...
Yeah, let's get quiet for a second since...
If there's anybody here with us, we're just gonna go quiet for the first minute or so here. You know, we'd love to talk to you tonight, and we'd love to hear from you. So if you could, just make a sound, maybe let us know where you are.
Okay. So they're telling a spirit to make a noise, right? And they're also talking to them as if they're a child. Okay, if we're talking about spirits and we're talking about things like this, you have to remember, okay, that they're not children. Now, I'm not saying they're demonic. I'm not saying anything other than the fact that why would you talk to them like they're a child? I'm just saying, why would you talk to them like a child? So, here we go.
I know this is probably intimidating having so many people here. We just want to talk to you and hear from you. We know of all the tragedies that happened here.
If you can hear my voice, can you make a noise for us?
All right, that right there. That noise that they just made, okay? How are we supposed to hear any noises if you're going to have music in the background? If you want your audience to actually, understand what's going on, don't put music there. One. And two, why is this necessary? I mean, I don't understand. Like, anytime I used to do investigations when I was younger, I never did any of this stuff. So again, like, just, if you guys comment below and tell me, like, how that's important, I'd be glad to change my opinion here. But again, like, why are we having moments of silence? Why are we doing that? Like, I don't know.
We're just gonna walk around. Feel free to follow us. Feel free to talk to us.
Again, with the
and at
music.
any moment, if you want to make a noise for us, that would be very much appreciated.
I'll let some of you guys go.
After you. You be my guest.
No,
Actually, you are the guest.
Touche.
Get in there. Let's just keep moving up.
Oh, dude, I remember this hallway. Weren't we sitting right here? Like when we first walked in and like heard stuff moving around? Walking
Yeah.
You
around.
asked, make a noise and we'll come to you.
And we heard
In
it.
seconds you heard moving right there.
Yeah, down this hall. Last time we were here, you were able to make some noises for us. Could you knock for us? Could you make a knocking noise?
Again, like, how are we supposed to hear anything if you have music going on the whole time? I don't understand that. And also too, like, keep in mind, guys, that this building is like 140 to 100, almost probably even closer to 150 years old at this point. So again, it's not used anymore. It was used for quite a while, like I said, but like, you can see the dilapidation of the ceiling. And like, look, if something makes a noise, it's probably more so an animal that's gotten in the room or gotten into the building in some kind, or just general settling. I mean, like, this building was used for a very long time, so I don't see how making a noise would even really do anything other than probably freak you out at the end of the day. So again, I'm just making observations. So let's just go from here. All right.
Hello? We just want to talk to you. You don't have to be afraid of us.
I promise you, spirits are not afraid of people. I promise you that. I don't know why you would ever say that. Maybe it's because I look at the supernatural from the vantage point of Scripture, and they're not stupid, guys. No spirit's stupid. No spirit is not gonna know this stuff already. So again, like, however you want to see the spirit, that's fine, but that's unnecessary.
That's what we're here for, is to be with you, spend time with you.
You guys wanted to go check out Sarah's room?
Upstairs?
Sure.
Just kind of hit all the...
Now, notice how fast they're moving right now. That tells you that they have a big fat nothing burger. Okay, if investigators are going through a building that quickly, and again, like, they were probably there for hours and hours and hours, but it only managed to be an hour and 9 minutes. So obviously there's editing and stuff involved, which I wouldn't expect there not to be. But if you're moving that fast through a building, you're not. It's essentially telling you that you're not really going to get much. Could be wrong. I could be eating my words here. But nevertheless, like, in 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, they've already went from the basement to the first floor, and now they're basically going up. I don't know. I don't get it. But let's keep going.
floors quick. There's definitely something weird about this floor too. It's the same layout as the one below us.
Definitely has a different vibe to it all.
A different vibe. Can you be more specific? I would like somebody to explain that to me, especially from the vantage point that they have. What does a vibe mean to you guys? I don't know. I don't get their terminology here.
That Who did that like singing noise?
That was the door open.
Oh my God.
Exactly my point. You're gonna go through a building in the middle of the night with no lights on. Literally any little noise, and clearly you've asked the spirits to make noises at this point. Then you're gonna have that reaction? Really? Why? Why would you have that reaction if you've already actively opened yourself up to having a reaction? It's like, I don't know.
And then Chelsea rounded the corner and scared the out of me, and then you got scared.
So we're all on edge. That's good. That's good.
Okay, that was the
No,
door
it's not.
creaking.
That was just this opening.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at all the gifts you've gotten, Sarah.
Oh, sitting on her bed again.
All right, here's the thing. So this may look like an innocent room here, right? Well, supposedly there's a child that's supposedly connected to this room. Okay, so from my perspective, when you're leaving something for a spirit of any kind, regardless if it's a false god, regardless of if it's something else, you need to understand that now you're actually putting something there as an altar, as an offering to that spirit. So all these things that you see around this room is nothing more than a person basically putting an offering on an altar. Keep that in mind.
Extra cold in this room.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So right now I have this device in my hand. You can choose words in here, you can talk to us. Can you tell us more about yourself? Can you tell us maybe who you were? I know this might seem complicated, kind of weird to you, but we want you to talk to us. We want to hear from you.
Okay, if this is a spirit from 150 years ago, they're not going to understand the terminology weird. That wasn't necessarily part of the vocabulary 150 years ago. So I fail to understand the point of saying that, but hey, whatever, here we are.
Picture.
Dude, there's a picture right there of a little girl, right up above.
Oh.
Is that the picture you're talking about?
You're trying to describe yourself? Look at the picture. We don't believe that you are a girl. We think you are something else. So what would that be?
Gee, guys, what do you think? What do you guys think that it would be? You know, they don't obviously want to say the D word, which is demon, you know, and call it what it is. No, they'd rather go all the way around that. So watch them go all the way around that.
I did say the word picture. I feel like I should just take some photos.
Do it.
Just in case if that's what it meant.
Do it. Good idea. Can you show yourself in photographs? We know you just said picture. Chelsea here is going to take some pictures.
Are you still here, Sarah?
Why did you pull our attention towards the picture?
Okay, so I can kind of answer that from a theological perspective. So both mirrors and pictures, historically, for a lot of different cultures, that actually is something that, that's actually something really important to know. So like, for example, in the Mexican point of view, so the reason why they have the Day of the Dead, the Day of the Dead, I'm having a hard time speaking today, guys, is so that their ancestors can basically come back and speak to them, and essentially they can basically communicate and have a night of partying with their ancestors. Now part of that is that they believe, generally speaking, that if there is no picture of a loved one, then they're basically going to be forgotten in history. So there's that. And of course, mirrors, like, all you have to do is do a quick, Google search and basically say, what's the significance of mirrors related to the occults and related to different worldviews. It's viewed as like a portal for some, but generally speaking, pictures, dolls, and mirrors are all basically things that were used, historically speaking, in worldviews outside of the Christian faith. So take that how you want it, guys. That's just me giving you more context as to why something would say picture. And the other reason is that during this time frame, all the way up to the early 1900s, the only picture that some people would have taken, believe it or not, was actually post-mortem. So they would literally dress them up, they would make them look alive, and they would take a picture, and it was a post-mortem picture. That was very, very common in this time frame. So again, like, it depends on what your definition of the picture is. So, with that being said, let's get back to this because we still got a lot of ground to cover here.
Okay, do you see how like there's nothing on this? Like when I just took a picture of that, there's like nothing on that.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this. Like what is that? It's like white fog.
Dude, that is...
No, it's not. It's a camera trick. So what this is called in photography, I actually do, I dabble in photography. This is called noise, okay? So in other words, when something gets very pixelated, this to me doesn't look like mist or a shadow or anything like what they're describing. What it is, it's the camera basically adjusting with the light, and it's basically nothing more than noise in the picture. This isn't paranormal whatsoever. Like, I've had this happen on several of my photos, and again, because it's a phone, it's not really paranormal in my opinion. It's just noise on a picture.
It's weird. There is like a
It's
mist.
behind you, what I'm looking at.
Behind me?
Behind you, yes.
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of like white mist forming.
If you look at that, you see
Oh,
that
weird.
whole white floating mist thing?
It literally looks like
It's not mist.
someone hit a vape.
That's really strange, yeah.
It's pretty big. It's not like an orb or something. It's
No, it's literally noise in the picture. That's all it is. So like, especially when you're in the dark and when you take a picture, regardless if it's a camera or a phone, and it also depends on if you're using a flash, which if it's that dark, you're going to use the flash. That is the shadowing between the actual flash and the basically like the different sensors that are within the camera itself. So clearly she used the phone, so I can't tell you exactly what sensors the phone is using, but I know if I was using my camera, there's, I believe, 8 sensors inside that camera, and you can basically adjust them in between flash or no flash. So that's really all that is. I don't see a mist here. I just see photography noise.
like, it's not like a dust particle. It's like a whole, like, mist body.
It's just too much, yeah, and it's behind her.
And this is also what they call, what I'm calling, controlling the narrative. So now, at this point, they're trying to create a narrative with this picture that can clearly be explained by photography terms, and they're just going to beat it over your head until they find something else to essentially change or control the narrative from there. So that's what a lot of these guys do that are investigators, is that they try to control the narrative as much as possible. And I'll be honest, like, I literally just told you in a matter of a couple of minutes what that was. It's not paranormal at all. It's literally taking a photo in the dark with a resolution issue, and also on top of that, you're taking it with a flash, and it's basically it's a shadow, and just the way that the shadow reacts to the actual light. I mean, like, it's not paranormal. It's not.
Kind of weird. I don't know.
It is.
Could be explainable, but I don't know how. Can you
I
tell
just
us
did.
what you meant by something else? If you're not a little girl, then what are you?
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out, guys. There's only one other option. Let me guess, you're going to say that the temperature in the room just changed. Okay, unexplainable noise. They put that on the screen, but how can we understand what the unexplainable noise is if you're literally going to constantly edit music in the background every single time you guys react? Like, how are we as an audience supposed to really believe you that you heard a noise if we can't ever hear the noise that's actually being made? I mean, anyways.
Did you hear the little girl?
It was right here. It was right there.
Did you hear that little freaking girl?
Yeah, right there.
Did that sound like singing or like a giggle?
It sounded like a girl going,
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was that?
Okay, So obviously they enhance the noise, and you're supposed to believe that it's a little girl or something because that's how they reacted to it. I'll be honest, like that could be a floor creaking, making that noise. That could be, the building settling in some capacity. I mean, there's a lot of explanations it could be, and clearly they don't try to figure out what it is. They just say that it's an unexplained noise and get all excited about it. But, a lot of things can happen in a very, very large facility at night, in the middle of the night, with no lights on. It could literally be anything. Again, it could even be an animal. So, guys, just be careful as to what you guys are believing when you see these types of paranormal investigators, because they manipulate the whole thing. Again, like the music behind the unexplained noise is not necessary.
Oh my god.
I just got the freaking chills, dude.
Okay.
That is so scary.
Can you walk in here? We heard you out in the hallway.
It genuinely sounded like on the other side of this wall, like it's standing outside this room. My camera was pointed here too, so it definitely got that audio.
It was so separated. Like then Sonia's foot made a big noise because she stood up, but like
Yeah,
that was different.
I just don't feel like it's a little girl.
Is there another name that?
And we're talking about feelings again. Okay, so again, that's metaphysical. That is a metaphysical if they're trying to get an emotional response, regardless if it's just them or the audience. So feelings should not matter when you're trying to take a scientific approach to understand something. I'm taking a scientific approach right now, and you don't see me being swayed emotionally about it. So again, your feelings don't matter when it comes to science, okay? I'm just going to be honest.
What they call you? What's your real name?
Can you choose a word in here?
Okay, if you guys didn't know, that is an extremely, extremely expensive device that he has in his hand. But I'll be honest, it's easily tricked and easily manipulated. Basically, it has like a vocabulary of like 5,000 words or something like that, and it senses temperature and different fluctuations in the room, which, again, like, I don't hold any type of, I don't hold those devices highly when it comes to determining an actual scientific evidence, so.
Okay, something just jerked my ear. What? Jerked my ear right here. Right here.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Was it subtle, or explain like what you felt?
Okay, it was almost like a pinch in a pool. My earlobe went down.
It's the same thing that happened to me, dude.
Was that like a pinch? And then
What? No way! You see how I move by this, right? Alright.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about it in the packet read, but last time we were here, Tanner, that happened to you in this room.
Yeah.
And the guy you interviewed that first episode told you he always gets a touch on the back of his ear.
Yeah.
Every single
But this is a pinch in a pool. I was expecting just a brush.
My head is tickling. I'm so scared.
What a girl. I just said girl.
Oh! Okay, good.
That's not that impressive. I'll be honest. It's just not. You're talking. So you have all these toys and basically a supposed story about a girl being there. Again, clear manipulation tactic. Whether it actually said that or not, or whether it actually spelled that out or not, it's not important. It's still a manipulation tactic.
It said girl. Okay. Are you trying to tell us you're a girl?
Dude, I'm actually worried.
Again, that information doesn't matter.
To Sonia.
Dude.
I'm just saying.
I feel like it's almost trying to confuse us.
I think you were right though, Dakota. Like a lot.
Okay, so what do demons do from a scriptural standpoint? They kill, steal, and destroy, right? They also manipulate. They also, divide and separate. They do all of these things. So again, like, if you would just call it what it is, most of us could probably move on and be totally fine. But you're not calling it what it is. You're going to go all the way around it. So
A lot of
here
this
we
is
are.
trying to throw us off.
It's just weird that we get like picture, and obviously there's one picture in here. It's of like a little girl, and then Chelsea
Postmortem
takes
picture.
a picture. The mist. We heard a girl's voice.
It's not a mist.
Your ear got cut.
Your ear got tugged, and then it also said.
These are all metaphysical experiences, guys. Every single one of these is a metaphysical experience. So, cut the crap and get to your point here. But again, they're going to keep going on and on and on about all this stuff, and probably waste another 5 minutes of explaining all, trying to justify everything metaphysically that they're experiencing. So, again, like, here we are.
Girl, it's almost like it's like too obvious, where it's like, I'm a girl, see? How about this? We know the word girl is in here because you've already said it. Can you say girl again if you're a girl? All right, Sarah.
I don't know why, but I almost want to laugh when they do these like long pauses where they just all stare at each other. I think it's comical, to be honest, because they're all standing in one room, and then, like I said, in the middle of darkness, in the middle of the night, trying to get something to say something that they clearly are trying to control the situation, and they're all just. It's funny to me.
Sarah, we're gonna probably head out of here. Some of us will definitely be back. Can you give us one last word to maybe identify yourself? What?
Oh my god, that's so cryptic.
That's
That
ominous.
is very cryptic, yeah.
By something saying what? What?
Right.
I think the what part is the thing that creeps me the hell out the most.
Why?
Because that could mean anything. Like, it doesn't know how to. It doesn't know.
Yeah, that depends on how you try to manipulate the actual word. That's why it's freaky to you, because, again, like, they're using manipulation tactics once again to try to justify a random word that comes out in a dictionary, because that's essentially what this thing is. Just saying.
No, it doesn't have that word in there yet.
I think it's weird that we've had 2 conversations now in this room where whatever entity's in here doesn't even know what it is or isn't telling us.
Oh, it knows what it is. That's the difference between having a consistent worldview to an inconsistent worldview, because a consistent worldview would say, yes, definitively this is what it is and this is how I know. A person that doesn't have a definitive worldview is going to say, well, it could mean this, it could mean that. And that allows you to try to build a story based off of a false presupposition. So that's what's going on here.
On purpose.
Let's maybe go to the gear room and then we'll decide what to do after that.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, you over there.
All right, I'm going to fast forward through this, guys, because this is another advertisement that they're doing. Let's see here. All right,
And me,
we'll start here.
Tanner, Mike, Bianca, we're gonna go up to the asylum and check that out.
Cool.
All right, we're
luck.
splitting up.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
See ya.
Oh wait, do we have a walkie?
I gave you one.
Oh, I have it.
You got a real good leader over there.
We're fucked.
Was this necessary to keep in here? Like, I get having a good time. I get joking around. But you guys are trying to be professional, and this is the last thing that I would ever see as being professional reactions, or whatever the case is. Like, that's just unnecessary. I would have been fine without that.
Here we go, heading up to the asylum.
You okay?
Yeah.
See, what they don't understand is the whole place was in fact an asylum at one point. It wasn't just one floor. So they even said that in their little historical overview, but yet they're calling it the asylum. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but
Yeah, I was
okay.
just paying attention to my camera, not where I'm walking.
Holy crap.
Hello?
All right, I'm going to point something out here. So when you have angles like that, right? Like you know, anything like this or an angle in a room, what you're going to have is a natural reverb that's going to happen. So any angle, that sound is going to bounce off that other angle, and it's going to keep basically bouncing around the room, which is why most people that have studios have some type of a noise dampening thing behind their microphones and cameras, like I do. You guys can't see it. You might be able to see it back on this wall. Those black those black dots back, or the triangles back, or I'm sorry, the squares back there. I guess I should be more specific. But with that being said, like, you're gonna have sound that keeps bouncing. Okay, I want you to understand that in this room that they're in, because that sound is gonna keep bouncing. It's gonna keep bouncing everywhere, because there's no flatness, right, to anywhere on the walls or on the ceilings. So that sound is gonna keep bouncing all the way around that room. So I just want that to be important for you guys to pay attention to, because generally speaking, I don't think most people think that way. You know, I've been in audio and basically an audio guy for a very, very long time. And so with that being said, I mean, that's like audio 101 when it comes to misshapen rooms, is that you're going to have some, you know, some issues acoustically in a room like that. So let's get back to the video. I just wanted to point that out real quick.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, my heart started pounding.
Same.
I have to say, like, as a viewer watching this, you put yourself in your shoes. How it feels like to come up in these places. It's like 1,000 times scarier.
I know. Is there anybody up here? Can you?
You guys notice the sound, right? Just pay attention to the sound. Pay attention to what I explained about how sound reverberates off of every angle.
Can you move around for us? I feel like we should go check out the asylum. That is where allegedly the forced abortions happened. There's stirrups even in one of the rooms.
It's a really weird room, man.
Such an uncomfortable, like, vibe to it.
It does.
Like, especially as a girl.
I can't even imagine, like, just the types of pain that went on up here.
I'm guessing most of the women that had that happen to them, which is unfortunate, probably didn't make it, because I'll just say this: you can't have an abortion without first acknowledging the fact, okay, that you are donating your child to a false god. Whether you call it Moloch, or whether you call it something else, you are literally sacrificing your child to a false god, okay? And the fact that this was forced upon women, like this isn't something that they willingly chose, that just makes it that much more evil and sadistic. But again, like, notice how the acoustics are completely different, and that's an even smaller room with harsher angles. So keep that in mind if they start talking about noises.
Not only were there forced abortions, but like this is where they treated some of the mental patients, and who knows what kind of treatment that was.
Especially in the time, it was a lot of experimental stuff. They didn't really know if it was working.
And there's a lot of our history was just trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling?
I'm nervous, that's why.
The music again, really. I don't get why they have to constantly have music in here, but
I haven't moved yet.
Okay.
Should we go over there?
Yeah, let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Lead the way, Tanya.
All right, let's do this.
Nope.
Wrong
This way.
I didn't know. Okay.
Oh, creepy stairs. I'm gonna just look at this without her. It's the creepiest red staircase
is.
of all time. So this area, this building is the Civil War building.
Civil War.
Yeah, this is the part that housed a lot of like the widows from
Okay.
the Civil War and children. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Yo, I'm hearing things.
I am too, and I don't know if I want to go up there, to be honest. Okay.
now you guys remember what I just said about the different angles of noise. It can be really, really disorienting going into a building like this with no acoustic shielding whatsoever, because it's going to make it sound like there's noises coming from every angle, when in fact there really is, in all honesty, noises coming from every angle, because there's no way for you to really fully understand like what angle is causing that noise, or where exactly it would even be. So it doesn't surprise me that they're having that general reaction, given where they're at. But you know, it's something to be thought about, I guess, when we're talking about different noises that they may or may not be hearing. So.
I have to admit, it's a lot freakier when there's less people.
Is there anyone up here? Can you knock on the wall? Can you copy this?
Okay, you're gonna get that a lot in a good majority of investigations. As I stated, the problem is that acoustically these buildings are not great for even figuring out where the noise is coming from. So again, if it has sharp angles or multiple different corridors and multiple different areas like this, acoustically, it's almost impossible to actually determine where it came from. So if they say that it's coming from one area, it's probably not. I'll be honest. It's just how sound works and travels through buildings and rooms and what have you. So with that being said, I won't be surprised if they say, "Oh, well, it came from here." It's impossible to determine. I'm actually sticking up for them in this part.
What the hell was that? Did you hear that rumble?
They're saying it's a voice. All I heard is, some general noise. That could be anything, though. It really could be. I don't know. You keep playing music in the background.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
Again, it's going to be impossible to tell where that actually came from, given the acoustics of the building. So it didn't sound like a voice to me. It just sounded like somebody in a different part of the building that moved something. To be honest, that's kind of what I heard. But again, like, they're probably going to tell you what they thought they heard, because that's just what they do. So.
You do that again?
I don't like the feel of these rooms.
It honestly feels like something is just like 10 yards behind us at all times. Like, it's just like, it's curious.
Again, the acoustics in the building are going to affect that.
Do an EVP over there.
Yeah, I think maybe we go to the rec room, the big room, kind of find a place to sit.
All right, these are my least favorite, guys, because EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, it's almost impossible to actually tell whether it's an actual voice or any aspect of intelligence, because of, one, the equipment that they use, and two, they're going to tell you what they think they said. They're going to put it on the screen, and they're going to force you to believe the same thing, regardless if it actually says it or not. So that's why I don't like EVPs. I feel like it's just another manipulation tactic.
So right now we're gonna use the digital recorder. This is a device that picks up frequencies our ears can't hear.
All right, so you guys see this right here? See this right here? That's a DR60. This is old technology. When I mean old, it's impossible for it to not make white noise, okay? So because the recording is so bad, that they're able to manipulate it easier. And so many people do this, guys. It's ridiculous how many people do this. So it's going to be bad, all right? I'm just going to forewarn you now.
It's believed that this can pick up spirit voices. Last time we were here, in this exact spot, we got a voice that said, "I'm..."
And by the way, even though that's old technology, you can't find them on eBay under $500 because of paranormal investigators. Just keep that in mind.
Pregnant.
How many of you are up here?
So I am
See what I mean?
rolling on the digital recorder. putting it on the table. No one will be touching it. Last time we were here, we heard someone tell us that they're pregnant. Is that person still here with us? Can you tell us what went down, what happened up on this top floor?
Did something happen to your pregnancy?
I mean, you guys already said it as a part of the story earlier, so I don't know why we're approaching it again. You already know that abortions happened here. You already know that. You've already addressed it, so why are you asking the question again?
Did you have the baby or was it terminated?
Really? They're gonna ask that question when they literally just covered this a little while ago? I don't understand. Like, move on. When they do that, guys, when they fast forward like that, that means that they have a whole big nothing burger. Or they were just literally sitting there in complete silence in hopes of actually getting something on that recorder when they're just going to manipulate that recorder anyway. So, big waste of time in my opinion.
What's that?
Footsteps.
What was that?
Dude, something is moving.
Yep.
Again, look at the angles, guys. Look at the angles of the room. Understand the acoustics that I've been talking about the whole entire time that they've been up there. Again, like, it's almost impossible to actually, one, say definitively what that noise was, and two, where it's actually coming from. Because there's so many angles on the walls, it's just going to keep reverberating back and forth. It's disorienting is what it is. It's not something that they're controlling in this moment, but that is a factor to any noise that they may hear.
It sounds like a bed moving.
Yeah.
Did you just sit in the bed? Did you just sit down? I have chills all through my body right now.
The second we heard that noise, it got really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is there someone watching us right now?
Do you know how you passed away?
What kind of a question is that? Really? Okay, now you're making the assumption. Now you have the presupposition saying that you're talking to something that was actually human at one point. I don't think, in all honesty, some of the events that happened in this particular location, I don't think they're talking to something that's actually human or was ever was human. In my opinion, that's a really strange question to ask, because that would assume that you believe in residual energy, which I'm not even going to approach that unless they actually say it. But I don't know. That was just a really stupid question to ask, in my opinion.
Can you tell us what happened?
Something happened to your pregnancy? Did you have the baby or was it terminated?
Oh, I know what I hear.
What?
Please tell us, enlighten us what you hear.
I hear, like, it didn't happen. Like, it's saying it didn't happen. Let me play it for you again.
Did you guys actually hear that? Because I didn't hear that. I don't know what I heard, but it wasn't.
I heard it.
It didn't happen.
I heard it all the way from here through the headphones.
Yeah, Lydia's over there, by the way, guys. She just didn't want to be in this one. But yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah, she's saying that she heard it.
It said a boogajoo.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, remember the manipulation tactics that I said. Remember that DR60 is extremely old technology. This isn't any definitive evidence. At least it shouldn't be.
There's more after that, too.
Do you have the baby or was it terminated?
It says something after happened. It didn't finish the sentence on happen.
It didn't happen, followed by something else.
Have the baby or was it terminated?
All right, we're gonna hear this for another couple of minutes, guys. So until they did move on, I apologize. These recordings are so bad, and even when they enhance them, there's so much globbity gloop in the recording. It's not even funny. So.
It was terminated?
Terminated? Oh,
I don't
God.
know. I don't know.
See, they're gonna literally make up stuff and say that it said that when all it was just, well, it was white noise. And whether you have that sitting on a table or whether you have it in your hand, that's how that recorder sounds. It is a very, very dirty recorder in the sense of the sound quality. So that's how they're able to manipulate this and tell you what they think it said instead of you making up that decision on your own.
It was terminated.
It was terminated. I heard that.
Of course, they're going to say this another few times.
Oh my goodness, man.
To get that response is actually so sad.
It is very sad. I can relate to it as a mom. How devastating that must feel.
Whoever this is like confirming for us, like almost like the forced abortion stories.
They don't have to confirm that story when, one, they do have a record of that, and two, they literally have an abortion room at the location. It's not confirming anything. It's just information you already knew that you're regurgitating and trying to make another narrative for. That's all they're doing right here.
I have a lot of truth to them.
And it's kind of wild that you asked, did you have the baby or was it terminated? And it goes, it didn't happen, answering the first part, and then answering your second part, it was terminated.
If that is what you said, if we heard you, all we need is one little sound, just a little sound to know.
Again, look at the angles in the room. It's going to be impossible to determine what the sound is or where it comes from.
That was you. Please tell us. Oh God.
What was that?
Not me. I'm frozen.
Thank you.
Okay, there was literally a knock on the wooden ground.
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for saying that. We're so sorry that this happened to you. I know there's a few more questions left. Let's see if maybe there's more.
Oh, you already know there's going to be more because you know they have more narratives to add up.
Do you know how you passed away? Can you tell us what happened?
What was that, dude?
I said, do you have
No,
the
let me
name?
hear that.
That's different from anything else we've gotten so far.
Very
That's
forced.
loud.
Very loud.
The first word does sound like help.
I hear help at the beginning.
It's like help.
Help what?
Help us?
Maybe.
And once again, we have another narrative happening. They use this to manipulate the people that watch this stuff to say literally whatever they want to say given their narrative that they're trying to create. So they're going to say it says help and the next word is probably me or something like that. So I'm sure we'll find out here in the next like minute or 30 seconds. So.
I hear help us now.
The help is like the
Plain as day.
But the other rest of it's so hard to hear. I mean,
Jake, that couldn't be because you're using technology from like 20 years ago, could it? Just a thought.
Also was, a psych ward.
No, because I actually wrote
We
something.
could be hearing like
and it's
residual
legit.
screams
It's like
too.
100%
I'm sure
legit.
this
It has
hallways
nothing
were
to
filled
do
with screams
with
all
the
the time.
Yeah.
It said a boogajoo.
Guys, I don't know if you heard Lydia there, but she was kind of like picking on the whole thing. Yeah, so I'm not even going to repeat what you said. If you guys heard it, then more power to you.
We're going.
It's in the laundry room area where you saw the shadow figure.
Gosh.
Okay, shadow figures. Let's talk about this real quick. So there is a theoretical thing, right, when it comes to paranormal about shadow figures. This goes back probably millennia at this point, and so basically, like, shadow figures are a demonic representation of something, according to what a lot of people say. I'll be honest. I've only seen in my personal life shadow figures maybe a handful of times, maybe. And the way that they describe them versus the way that I've experienced them is, well, it's pretty different. But again, like, just because you see a shadow doesn't definitively mean that it's paranormal. Generally speaking, there always is an explanation for the shadows. And if there's not, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's the camera, the tech that they're using inside the camera, for instance, is causing that. And I'm not saying that that's what these guys are doing at all, but like, it's pretty easy after production. What I mean is when you're editing it to throw something into the video. And again, I'm not accusing them of that, so don't take me for saying that they're faking all of this. I'm just trying to show you different possibilities of stuff. So let's watch and see what happens, or see what they say. So.
Oh my gosh, it's so freaky. I don't even want to go over there.
Oh God.
Okay, so the room that they're in is the laundry room. I want you guys to pay attention to something. So in the laundry room, right, you see that they have obviously a washer and dryer. You can see up here that there's pipes and probably electrical. I'm assuming that this is in the basement somewhere. So all of these different factors in the lower part of any facility, house, whatever, right? Those are going to be places that are what's called fear cages, meaning that all of the magnetic frequencies that are happening around the room, like I said, like maybe a laundry room or something like that, it can cause you to feel very disoriented, nausea, headaches. It can cause all of those things, especially if you're more sensitive to frequencies. Like me, for instance, because of my dystonia, I'm way more sensitive to frequencies than I ever was before. So that's a real thing that they could be experiencing in this room, just because of all the different plumbing and electricity that has to be basically gone through this room. So even though they don't have the lights on, doesn't mean that it's not still generating some type of current. That's just science. So I would say if they start having any of these types of conditions related to a fear cage, that's what's causing them to believe that there might be a shadow there when there may not be. Again, I'm not discrediting their experiences. I'm just saying that could be the reason as to why something like that could happen. So let's get back to it.
I cannot believe I saw a shadow in here last time.
That's crazy.
I know.
Because every time.
All right. Did you guys see the water heater in the background? So again, that generates electricity. That generates a current. It's going to be anything that has a current going through it is going to be electromagnetic current. Because again, there's always a positive side, there's always a negative side. And saying that, it's always going to generate a current. So in this room, you have a water heater, you have a washer and dryer, you have all these different things that are happening within this room. So again, it's probably more like a fear cage that your body is perceiving, an abundance of that frequency, and it's affecting you in a specific manner. So that would be what more I would probably say than what they're actually going to tell you.
When I watch that part, I'm like, oh my God.
It's so freaky. I do have the spirit.
That didn't look like a shadow to me at all. I mean, maybe something outside, but again, like that didn't look like a shadow to me, but hey, whatever.
Spirit box if you guys want to do a spirit box session.
And my second least favorite experiment that they do, a spirit box session. And they'll probably do an Estes method at some point, which we'll deal with it when the time comes, because more than likely they will, but yeah.
Ask some questions.
Let's do it.
I'm going to apologize for this noise because I can't stand this noise at all. If I start spasming, I apologize, because like this noise actually kind of causes me to do that. So hopefully it won't be too long in the video. So we'll see.
Last time I was here, I saw a figure in this room, a shadow. Can you tell me who that might have been, who I saw that night?
If you guys are unfamiliar with this method, basically what that device does is it scans hundreds of different actual radio stations, and supposedly they're able to talk in between. The spirits, quote unquote, are able to talk in between those frequencies. Personally, I don't think there's any concrete evidence to this, just because it's not usually that horribly accurate, and it's really annoying. And it, like I said, like the frequency action, like the noise, that noise causes me to spasm. So hopefully, like I said, it won't be too long.
Just something.
Just one.
Do you remember me sleeping here?
Again with the music.
Yeah. That was like reverb.
Oh God, sorry. Okay. I just dropped my phone. Sorry, Sonia. Is there somebody here that wants to talk to us?
I need air.
What?
I thought it said I need air.
I need air.
Oh my God, okay.
I need air.
Oh my God.
Were you strangled?
Are you buried down here?
I hid. I hid. I hid.
Can you tell us again? Were you hurt?
All right, so that tells you how long they did this this particular method, and I apologize, guys, if you're seeing me spasm a little bit. That noise actually does, like I said, my body just doesn't like certain noises anymore. That being one of them. But you can see how long they did this for. That's why they're, fast forwarding through it. But you can also see, like, it's very cryptic. So even if it is saying something, which I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that they're, basically able to catch, like, certain things through a couple of frequencies, because it's like, it's like when you turn on a radio station in your car and you're like in between two radio stations. That's essentially kind of what I think they're experiencing. But again, like, they're trying to just create another narrative here. So I don't see this as evidence per se.
Can you explain who Sarah is or what you know of Sarah? Do you refer to this entity as Sarah, or do you call it something else?
An accident. Oh my God.
That was pretty big.
It said accident. An accident.
Wait, what if Sarah was like...
And here you go. Here's the narrative. You ready? Because didn't I tell you that they were going to try to make a narrative from this useless information that they're getting? That's just what they're going to do. And she's going to create a whole narrative and say, well, what if, without any context to anything that she's really saying. They're just trying to put a puzzle piece together that basically, to me, it's kind of like trying to take a square and put it into a round hole. I mean, to me, that's what's going to happen here. But I'll let you guys see for yourself.
Conjured. Like, what if
accident?
Sarah, it wasn't an actual person? What if she was like created? That could definitely, that was weird.
That was really weird.
That was like the clearest.
To me, this is like such an interesting follow-up because last time all we got was I'm pregnant. This time, now we got the same voice that seems like telling us more about the pregnancy.
Now they have two different narratives going on at the same time. And part of that is because the teams separate, which is fine. Like, it's totally okay if you want to separate your teams. I mean, they definitely have enough people to do so. But they have two different narratives that are going on simultaneously. They have one with these four in the asylum, trying to basically put puzzle pieces together that really it's like shoving a square peg through a round hole. And then you have the other one that's trying to say that, oh, well, this was never a human in any way. And so which is it, guys? Like, try to be consistent here. Like, it bothers me, and I can't be the only one that it bothers, like how you guys are jumping between two different stories. But again, like, that's just what they're doing when you have two different teams, in two different areas. That's what's going to happen. You're gonna have these situations to where you're gonna have two different separate narratives, but eventually they're gonna try to bring those two together. And I'll be honest, like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that or not, but I guess we'll see.
And the cry for help too, that's so sad.
Yeah. We appreciate you talking to us and telling us what happened to you.
Hey guys,
Yo, what's up?
we're gonna wrap up here and head down.
You guys?
Okay, sounds good.
Well, let's pack up our stuff and go meet
10-4, little buddy, 10-4. Oh, I'm so glad that the ghost box is over. Or the spirit box. Guys, that noise just drives me up the wall anymore, and it causes me to spasm every time, which is unfortunate. But you see how right when they were both finishing up, like, they're obviously going to come together and probably try to make sense of it and try to bring it together. I'm not going to buy it either way because, again, I don't think they really have anything tangible right now. So.
First time I ever heard of EVP in real life.
Really? That was your first one?
And it was the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I've never heard an EVP like that, like, ever. And just, you don't expect it.
I've never investigated before.
Yeah.
So what has happened tonight is definitely like even more validation.
Okay, so the guy that was just talking, and this woman here, and then the one that has the fur coat on, those, if I didn't say it, those are our guests on the show for donating an astronomical amount of money to their fundraiser that they had to start this YouTube channel. So keep that in mind, like, when the guy's like saying, I've never heard it before, and she's like, I've never investigated before, the one in the fur coat probably is going to say the same thing. These are guests on the show for basically, like I said, donating an astronomical amount of money for them to start this, because they had a failed show on, I think it was Travel Channel, and so they decided, along with some of the producers, I would imagine, to make it a YouTube channel. Which, again, that's no small feat to do that, but again, like, that's what they do. It's like, I think the last 3 or 4 episodes have been like this, if I'm not mistaken, but just want to give you context as to why they would say that.
Oh, I hear him.
I hear them too.
Okay, Alex.
I feel like right now we have a lot of answers, but the one thing we don't know still is, what is Sarah? Who is Sarah?
It's not that hard to figure out. You're literally going all the way around it. Just call it what it is, guys. Call it what it is.
You should go up there and do like a group Estes method. See if we can
please
get
no.
any more closer with Sarah.
You'll quickly see why I don't like
I'll
this
go
role.
up there. We'll sit everyone down and do the Estes method. Okay, so this is the spirit box. It's going to be scanning, but
All right, so for those of you that don't know what an Estes method is, basically it was derived from an experiment that one of the universities in California did back in, I believe it was the 70s. Originally it was called the God Helmet, and essentially what it does is it depraves you of certain senses and obviously enhances others, so you can better connect with whatever spirit or thing that you, basically any type of spirit or entity that you're trying to communicate with. So on one hand, like the experiment over the years has basically, if you have psychic powers, I'm saying that very loosely here, that it would enhance those psychic abilities to be able to better understand whatever you're communicating with. The Estes method is basically a new version of that. I don't know the history of this one all that well. What I do know is basically they blindfold you and they put headphones like this on, noise canceling headphones, and that is connected to a spirit box, so the person cannot hear what's going on in the room. So the people in the room ask the questions, and the person that is basically blindfolded and has the spirit box on them is going to basically answer the questions that the others are asking. So I can't stand the method because it's not really that great of a method, and you are trying to find answers to something that you already know at this point. So just like I said, guys, take this how you want to take it. Take it with a grain of salt, please, because again, like I don't like this method whatsoever. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think that it really helps to understand anything any better. Because again, like you have to prove to me that the spirit box is actually spirits that's actually talking. Maybe one of these videos I'll give a background for that, because the background for that device is quite tragic and sad, actually. But this one's already going to be a little bit longer just because the video is longer that we're watching, and you know, with me pausing it as much as I am, which sorry not sorry, because I feel like you guys need to have context. So you know, biblical exegesis is context, context, context. So when you're talking about apologetics, right, and you're talking about a conflicting worldview, which clearly these guys are having a conflicted worldview, it's going to be the same context, 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 right? But I'm also going to ask serious questions of why are you doing that? Okay, why is this significant? Why is this a part of what you're doing? Because again, like I'm not trying to disprove them necessarily, but with that being said, you know, it's one of those things. So
I will be the only one that can hear it.
guys, I'm gonna have to hit the pause button real quick because I just realized that my battery is dying in my camera. You know, you would think I'd be better prepared, but it wasn't actually that low when I first plugged it in. So I'm gonna have to stop recording and then come back to it. So just give me 1 second, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I apologize for that. My battery started to die, so let's get back into this, guys, because we still got quite a bit of ground to cover here. So
I won't be able to hear the questions being asked, so all I'm doing is,
and again, this is the Estes method, so that's where we left off at.
announcing out loud anything that I hear that comes through. Oh God. Oh man.
There's that.
I'm scanning the frequencies. I'm just gonna announce anything I hear going forward.
How many of us are in here?
Are we talking to Sarah right now? Can you give us a sign that you are Sarah?
Did you pull on my ear?
I scared you.
Oh my
Whoa! Yeah, see, I can do that too.
My gosh.
Why did you scare Sonia?
Because it was easy? I mean, why would you ask that question? Why did you scare her? Look, you guys are in an abandoned building, okay? That's thousands of acres, all right? And you're packed into a small room like a sardine, asking questions. Why does it need to tell you why it scared you? Just because it was fun? I mean, I'll shut up.
Can you go touch Dakota? Like grab his
I just
leg.
heard like a girl laugh.
Sarah, we really do not believe that.
Don't.
What?
Oh, it's cut you off.
There you go.
I think it said, don't ask
No way.
Ask again.
him.
Him, he asked.
Really? Again, on yet another narrative. Now keep in mind, they haven't put 2 and 2 together yet. They're not going to do that probably until the end of this video. So, yeah, here we go.
We still don't know what you are. We really don't think you're a little girl.
Go away.
Dude, Alex, it does not like when
I
you
don't
talk.
think it likes me.
Every time you talk, it's like negative.
Doesn't like that you're questioning it.
I feel like I'm pressing it too much.
Yeah.
Why do you pretend to be a little girl?
Because it's easy. Look, what's going to be easier to manipulate you? What's going to be easier to influence you? A child that they prey on the innocence of the child? Or something that is completely demonic and actually views realistically what it actually is? What's easier? What's easier to manipulate? A child is easier to manipulate. A child is easier for you to be convinced that it's not what it actually is. So, I think that answers their question, but let's see actually what they say.
I'm the only one.
Do you not know what you are?
No, it knows what it is. Are you insulting the intelligence of spirit here? Or are you really just not realizing what it's actually doing and what it's actually saying? I mean, I don't understand, like, you know, from my perspective, I guess I just don't understand.
That's so weird. It sounded like someone just said, are you alive?
Yes, we are alive.
Do you know that you're dead? Are you aware that you passed away?
It's kind of creepy how dominant this spirit or entity is. It's like,
You do realize that a spirit and an entity are exactly the same thing, right? It's exactly the same thing, guys. So why would you put them in 2 different classifications when it's the same thing? That to me is very strange. But again, I'm trying to call it what it is. Without a doubt, I already know that this is a demon before they even started doing this. Only demons can do what's happening in this type of a situation. So again, like, they're going all the way around the point. And they're going to continue to do that for the rest of this. But with that being said, you know, just call it what it is. Like, don't beat around it. Just get to your point here. Like, they're trying to do a build up and it's just annoying me more than it is anything.
I'm the one.
Right.
Like, it's very much dominating.
Don't ask.
Because it's a demon, that's why.
No.
In the closet.
Whoa.
Hell no!
I'm so creeped out right now.
If you're so creeped out and you're so, like, you know, I don't know, making stuff up, and you're trying to sell it, okay? So, like, I'm a wrestling fan. I'm just going to say this real quick. So, one of the things about professional wrestling is, even if it's a storyline, even if it's something that, like, you can basically definitively say, oh yeah, that's fake. The problem that some of the wrestlers have in a storyline is they basically have to, it's not like a fake it thing. What they're trying to do is they're trying to sell it, right? So I'll give you an example here real quick. Al Snow was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up throughout the Attitude Era. But his finisher was literally taking a mannequin head, right, and bashing somebody over the head with it. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever taken a mannequin head to the face, but it doesn't really hurt that bad. And how do I know this? Well, because I was a barber and I had to use mannequin heads for about a year and a half. So I have been incidentally hit with a mannequin head. Long story. Don't have enough time to tell that story. But nevertheless, it really doesn't hurt. But Al Snow had to make it look like it was the most painful thing he could ever do. That's what's called selling it. That's exactly what they're doing with this reaction. They're trying to sell it. They're trying to basically sell you on the fact that there's something in the room with them. Now, granted, the Estes method doesn't prove or disprove any of the aspects of it being in the room. What it does allow them to do is create a storyline. And so the storyline that they've created at this point is basically saying that whatever this is that they're talking to is in the closet behind them. And if they would just call it what it is, which is a demon, they could have actually cut this video in the next like 5 minutes. But that's just not the case.
Is that where you're watching from?
That's where people see shadows too.
Again with the shadows.
Where are you right now?
Where are you right now? It just told you. It's in the closet. Really?
I'm pretty confident to say that this is not the spirit of a little girl. What it is, who knows? But it.
Just say it. Just say it. Does your worldview actually convince you to go all the way around the point? I mean, seriously, guys, just call it what it is. Call it a demon and be done with it, all right?
It's not a little girl. That, like, I know that 100%.
A little girl wouldn't do the things that it was doing. It wouldn't have intelligent responses like that. I'm not discrediting the fact that a little girl, you know, if it was, that it wasn't smart enough to come up with thoughts. That's not what I'm implying here. What I'm implying that demonic, if it is a demon and it is demonic activity, they're intelligent. They're manipulative. They try to divide and separate. They try to change your understanding and manipulate the context of any way that they can to assert their authority in the situation. That's what's happening here. Whether they say it or not, it's kind of annoying that they keep going around it, but I'm going to be direct. This is demonic activity, period.
I didn't get that vibe when I was under either.
I feel like we got the answer. It's not a little girl.
No, we know that.
100%.
Just call it what it is.
So Bianca's gonna do it?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have Bianca do this to get a second opinion, second ears, and see if anything else happens.
Thank you.
And just when you thought one wasn't a one was enough, now we have round two of the most ridiculous method that's out there, the Estes method, which I've already explained the historical startings of this particular method. But we're going to see it again because once wasn't enough, apparently.
Okay, she's in.
She's in. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to ask the same question.
Now I'm just aggravated. Like, why do they need to do this whole entire method again? It just, I don't understand why they need to do this. This is not an accurate method. And they're doing it twice? I mean, really?
Again, or statement, really, we know that you are not a little girl, so tell us what you are.
Sarah, why were you talking about the closet? What happened in the closet?
Really? Did we forget everything that just happened? Really?
Why is
Let me.
Finish your sentence, please.
My heart.
My heart? Did something happen to your heart?
Electric.
Oh, a heart attack?
In the heart.
In the heart.
Did you have a heart attack?
talking to a different spirit? Not the spirit that claims to be Sarah? Are we talking to someone else now?
Idiot.
Oh, it does not like you,
This
dude.
person does not like me.
Well, maybe that's because you keep asking stupid questions. I probably wouldn't like a person either if they continue to ask the same question over and over again, expecting a different result. Oh wait, that's the actual definition of insanity. I'm sorry.
Another question. That's so weird.
Okay, I'll call you by your name if that's what you want, but Sarah, you need to give us some sort of information.
Attention. Don't do that.
Oh.
Dude, I'm not talking to you. This is...
What do you have against Alex?
Sorry.
Why?
This creep.
Oh, dude. It is just tough.
Whoa, dude. Really? Maybe if you guys didn't act foolish in these situations, maybe it wouldn't be so harsh. But, you know, what do I know, right? I'm just on the outside looking in, you know, trying to explain your worldview to, you know, people that actually want to understand, you know, what you're actually doing. But if you act like fools, I'm going to treat you like fools. That was extremely foolish of actually saying that. Regardless of whether it's a demon or not, that was just downright foolish.
Talking smack.
My heart's pounding.
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
She can't hear you. Why are you asking if she's okay? She can't hear you. She has noise canceling headphones on. Just saying.
Dude, Sarah, I don't like you.
Dude, Alex.
Sarah, you need to give us more information. We don't think you're a girl.
Sacred.
Is that why you won't tell us who you are? Is this a secret? Is this something you're not allowed to say? Are you a human?
Really? Really? You're gonna ask if it's human or not? Would a human make those types of responses? Alright. Give me just a moment of your attention and then we'll get back to this, okay? So, if you guys haven't been listening to our podcast, you know, I highly encourage it because I make a lot of points like this on the podcast with different topics. But, okay, if it was a human, right, there's only two places, if you're understanding biblical theology, right, there's only two places that a former deceased spirit would go to. One would be, you know, the celestial city where you get to spend all of eternity with God the Father and our Lord Jesus Christ for the rest of eternity. And spend the rest of eternity, you know, praising Him and all of His glory. Or you go to hell, and you have the full wrath and judgment of God being placed upon you non-stop for an eternity. Okay? Generally speaking, when you're looking at biblical theology, okay, even in this context, you quickly realize that if something was human, and they're a believer, they're going to go one place. If they're a non-believer, they're going to go the other place, right? So, I don't have a category for what they're explaining right now. I don't have the ability to be able to say that it was a former human spirit. Because for me, those are designated for demons. Because, you know I've mentioned this a couple of different times in passing, but again, it doesn't really, like, I'm not trying to explain any other point of view other than my own here, okay? And with that being said, okay, I look at Genesis chapter 6, where the Nephilim are, right? These are basically halflings. So they're half human and half angelic. These, to me, are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, which means that the Nephilim are demonic. So, again, like, I don't have a category for a deceased human to be able to do this within a proper context. So, for them to ask that question tells me that they're not from the Christian worldview. But the problem is that you have to borrow from the Christian worldview to even explain your point here, because they're going all the way around calling it a demon, and they're going to continue to do that because they don't have a category within their belief system to even verify that. So again, it's all about theology. It's all about understanding the anthropology, the history of humans and where we fit at in the universe related to God as the creator. So I wanted to explain this before we went any further, guys, because what they're saying, within my biblical worldview, I don't have a category for this. So I'm not saying it's not possible, okay? But me personally, with all the research that I've done, with all these conflicting worldviews, I don't have a category for that. I could be wrong, and if I am, okay. But it's not a category that I should be judged by if I'm wrong, because this is a tertiary argument that we're having here. So, with that being said, let's get back to the video. We don't have too much longer to go, but we do have long enough. So,
Have you ever been human?
You hear that?
Way before she said
I heard that.
heard
Yeah,
the voice.
I heard
did
a voice
too. I did
no
too.
joke, yeah.
Yeah.
She said you hear that.
And it sounded like someone just outside.
Yes.
We can hear that.
Something getting closer?
You want to walk into this room? We can hear you.
that lady is absolutely terrified. You can tell by her breathing. She's absolutely terrified in that situation. I don't think it's fair for them to let a guest who's never done this method before go into it, because it can be traumatizing. Seriously, absolutely traumatizing. I just don't think that that's fair of them. You know, they chose this career, and even if you do have guests on your show, this isn't something that I would ever ask a guest on my show to do. Like, it's just, I don't know. But you can actually see how terrified she actually is, especially with the way that she's breathing. So
Hear you in the hallways.
You hear that? You hear that?
It sounds much more evil than earlier.
Yes.
then call out what it is, guys. It's not that hard. I've done it several times. See, it's a demon.
Who?
You sound evil.
My way is.
My way.
Is what?
Okay, so is this a biblical reference? Because if it is, it's saying my way is. Okay, well, Jesus is the light, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, by confessing your sins and repenting from them. So repenting isn't just an aspect of, oh, I'll never do it again. It's truly coming and understanding the grace of God and the omnipotence of God, and allowing Christ to come into your heart and acknowledge the fact that you are truly saved by His grace, by the acknowledgement of, Him dying on the cross and being the perfect sacrifice for our sins. Otherwise, God would never give us the time of day, because we are completely and totally, utterly unqualified to ever walk with God ever again without Christ. So when it's saying my way is, if again, like, I think this is demonic. I have no reason to not think it's demonic at this point. If it's saying that my way is, it's an inversion of Scripture, which is very, very consistent with what I've experienced in my life. But also too, like, this is a inversion of Scripture as well. So just point that out there, the fact that it said that. You guys can take that information however you see fit. But yeah, this is just more definition for me to call it a demon. But again, like, I don't know why they won't say it. They're trying to build up the story, but it's a demon. Like, I would just come right out and say it. But again, like, I think they're trying to, be a certain way about it. I don't see that as a point, like, it shouldn't be something that, you should be like that with. So guys, just be direct. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Be direct. Don't try to fool people into a false reality. Okay, like that's essentially what's happening right here. So, but let's continue.
My right. My way is my right.
Do you like scaring people? Do you get a rise out of people being scared in here?
I get nauseous.
You getting nauseous?
I get very nauseous.
Okay.
And again, like, remember what I said earlier about the whole aspect of it possibly being a fear cage? Well, now you're seeing the byproduct of that.
You alright?
You okay?
You feel okay?
You know, they asked like 5 times if she was okay. Like, obviously she's not okay because she wouldn't have said that if she wasn't. So, that being said, why are we asking her 5 times in 5 different ways whether or not she's okay when she just clearly said that she's not? Like, listen to your people, guys. Listen to your people.
Are you affecting Sonia?
And they listen.
I genuinely feel like we're tapping into something that might not be something we want to tap into.
We honestly don't believe you're a little girl.
Again with this, just call it what it is, guys. Call it a demon and end the video already. I mean, I don't know how many times you can beat something over the head until it's dead. But apparently they're just going to keep beating it and beating it and beating it and not verifying whether or not it's still breathing or not. I mean, goodness gracious.
We think you are something dark, negative. We want to know what you are, though.
I just told you what it was about 15 times. It's a demon. Why do you keep asking the same question, guys? Why?
I think the fact that I'm pregnant.
What?
Oh my God.
Yo.
Okay. What is going on?
Do you think that that's why you were killed?
Were you murdered?
Oh no.
Oh no, what?
Did you say, oh no?
Yeah.
You need to tell us right now. What are you?
Look. My baby.
There's a lot of mother pregnant.
Alright, so you guys want to know the easiest way to actually see if it's a demonic activity? Start with the gospel, okay? Start praying, okay? Generally speaking, if something starts to get more vicious when you pray and when you're reciting the gospel, it's probably demonic. But again, they're not going to go from this perspective because they want to know what it is without actually saying what it is. You know, Christians have the beautiful understanding that, you know, we can use Scripture to our advantage in this type of a situation. You know, I would just start praying for the people that were affected by the place, and I would be praying, you know, for the woman that's in this Estes method as well, because clearly she's not comfortable. Look at her body language. I mean, she's not comfortable. And going around the issue is not really telling you actually what the issue is. Just go straight for the gospel, guys. I promise you it's more effective. But it doesn't make a good video. It doesn't bring views in when you talk about Scripture and you talk about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And, you know, they're all about the views and putting on a show here. So, you know, why would they sell themselves short by actually believing and preaching the gospel? You know, that's my question. But, you know, we got about 20 or so minutes left, so let's try to finish this out.
See stuff.
A lot of maternal pregnancy, like
Attention.
What do you need?
What do you want to say? You have the floor. Tell us what you want to say.
Give us your
I
message.
heard like a whining voice, a crier. All in the back.
TJ.
All in the back.
He's coming.
Who's coming?
He's gonna be like, hide, like, get in the back. He's coming.
They keep an eye on me.
That person has no
No.
control over you.
Don't do it. Hold back.
Who is this man? Who did this to you?
I heard heavy breathing.
Like he's in you now.
What would happen to us if we stayed?
I'm starting to think that this is a woman with mental issues. Like,
It could be.
yes, this is someone who has a severe mental illness.
Like, unless we are being tricked by this spirit in here.
It sounds like an abused woman.
Yeah.
It does. For sure.
I
Well,
think it's a
And they are changing the narrative once again. So they went from saying, oh, this thing isn't human, which is better known as a demon, to, oh, well, this woman has mental illness. Okay, guys, so which is it? Is it a woman that has a mental illness, or is it a demon? I mean, you're not really being clear. You're being very cryptic. Again, like, if you just use the gospel, even though that wouldn't make a great video, it would be way more effective than what you're doing. This isn't convincing. This shouldn't be convincing anybody that this place is actually haunted the way that you guys are supposedly saying that it is. So, I don't know. I'm just a guy that, tries to find the gospel in the darkest places on earth. So, I guess I don't know much.
tormented person who went through a lot of stuff.
I'm just saying, if this is something that is dark, it's deceiving the hell out of us right now because we are all flipping and we're buying this story now. Think about it. We all.
The story that you created? Yeah, you guys created the story, so you're flipping on each other and your own narrative that you've been saying. Again, they go from narrative to narrative to narrative to narrative. They never bring any of it together. And, this, again, like, we've been at this for almost an hour now as far as the video is concerned. And to me, it's just not really saying or proving anything, so.
All went from saying,
Help me.
see, we all went from thinking that this is something dark, something that is like just manipulating us, to going, oh my God, I feel so bad for this.
I really think it is something dark.
Dude, it gets aggressive when we call it out. Call me an idiot. It's like,
And she just said
Are you?
are you?
Are you?
Dude, guys, this is not some poor woman. This is like something manipulating the crap out of us.
Call it what it is. Call it what it is. Call it what it is.
Right now.
I don't like
Over.
It's old.
We think you're something evil.
We know you're evil.
Oh, now you know it's evil. But you still haven't called it what it was. And you still haven't, actually presented the gospel, because if you did that, you would get a very different response. How do I know? Well, because I have done this before. This is not something new to me. As I've mentioned in other videos, I have over 20 years of experience related to the paranormal and the occult. And consistently, without a doubt, you start expressing your love for God's grace and the gospel of Jesus Christ, and you will get the right reaction. I promise you. And it's going to reveal who it is after you do that. Just be prepared, because I'm not saying that still isn't going to be a fight. Ephesians 6, what does it say? It says that, our battles and our wars are not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. So again, like, it's a demon, call it that, but understand that once you do, you're going to have a fight that you guys aren't used to, because you have no grounds for that fight. So I won't be surprised if they have continuing issues from going to places like this. And they'll probably eventually come out and say that, but, it is what it is. Just be consistent, and you can see how they keep changing their narrative. So sadly, this is not surprising.
We know you don't belong here. Would you be mad if
So they know.
So they know.
Yes, we know.
So they know.
You didn't trick us this time.
This is crazy.
You know.
Yeah, we know.
We do.
We know that you're tricking
I'm
us.
sorry.
Alright, we're gonna.
No, I think we got our answer.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that this is not.
Alright, we're gonna end our communication with you through this.
Get up.
Get up. It's done with us. It's done with us.
Are you done with us?
Let's get her out.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Baby King.
My God.
That, you have no idea how insane that was. Literally everything you said was a direct response. It was unbelievable. Like, that might be the best Estes we've ever done.
Like, it was almost like someone else was in the room with us.
That's because somebody was in the room with you. You just won't acknowledge what it is. How many times am I going to have to say this in this video, guys? Just call it what it is. It's a demon. Acknowledge the fact that the only way that you can defeat a demon is through the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's not something that you can do by yourself or on your own. It is something, it's a responsibility of the church and the caring aspect of the body of Christ. And it's not solely the pastor's, responsibility to do that as well. It's ours as believers of the gospel. And, if you were able to be under sound biblical teaching and preaching, you guys would also know what I'm talking about. But I've seen them change the script several times. Seen multiple different ways that they're going around the point instead of actually being direct to it. So again, like, I'm not surprised that they're doing this. A good majority of them do this, and anytime the gospel's said, it's in a slanderous way. But if I were to go and be in their shoes, I'll just say this real quick and then we'll finish the video out. If I was in their shoes, that investigation would literally manifest itself very, very quickly, because I'm not going to acknowledge anything other than the fact of what it actually is, and I'm going to be direct with the gospel. That is the only way that you guys, like anybody, I'm not just saying them, but anybody can truly fully understand these types of situations is, I had mentioned this in our most recent podcast that Cleveland and I did together. One of my favorite statements of all time is from Count Zinzendorf. He has one of the best quotes in my opinion. And the quote is this: "Preach the gospel, die and be forgotten." I want to be forgotten in this world, ultimately, but I also want to the acknowledgement of, me trying to preach the gospel, to our Lord. And that's basically what that means, but with that said, it's like, I don't understand why they keep going around the whole issue. It's very, very, it's actually more of a challenge to go all the way around the issue than just say what it is. But again, like, you have to have that biblical foundation. If the biblical foundation isn't there, you're going to do the same thing that these guys are doing, and multiple others. Because again, like, this is not something that Christianity has a need for. Because again, like, we acknowledge spirits, we acknowledge what is demonic and what is not. We acknowledge all of that, and we have a category for it. When you're outside of the Christian worldview, you don't have a category for any of this stuff. So this activity that they're experiencing and the things that they do, is trying to prove something. But if they would just stop and open up the Word of God and not just read it, but apply it to their lives, they would quickly realize that you don't have to go all the way around, all the way around the bush to get an answer. They're just, for whatever reason, not telling you the answer that is very, very clear to all of us. So just keep that in mind, as we finish this out. So it's not too much longer. And I apologize, guys, that I've been talking a lot on this one, but there's just certain things that I feel like the audience needs to acknowledge, and it's no disrespect to these guys, clearly they have a lot of followers, they have a lot of production that they do. And it is entertaining, I'll say that. Like, they are entertaining. But if you're going to try to, say that this place is haunted, okay, that's fine. But if you're dealing with a demon, just call it what it is. That's way easier than doing what you guys are doing, which is all the way around the point. So we only got a few minutes left. Let me get back to the video here. I'm sorry if I've bored you guys. It's just like there's so much information that I feel like I need to get out in some of these videos, and this being one of them. So without further ado, let's get back into this. We only got a few minutes left.
Let's go change some batteries. Let's get down to the gear room, kind of collect our thoughts.
Yes.
Take a breather.
So this is one of the research books that's at Madison Seminary, and I'm just flipping through the pages. I found an article that has the name Sarah in it.
Sarah Frisbee.
And Sarah apparently had heart trouble.
What?
In addition to that, apparently there was some kind of insanity inquest trying to figure out if this Sarah lady was insane or not, and then declared to be sane.
What the hell?
She was homeless, was taken to the infirmary. Like,
Okay,
this
so
is
weird.
so weird.
You mentioned heart problems several times.
My heart, electric in the heart.
We were questioning this person's sanity multiple times.
I'm starting to think that this is a woman with mental issues. Like, this is someone who has a severe mental illness.
So Sarah was arrested. She wrote letters stating that the superintendent had killed 4 inmates and buried them in the cellar.
She did say something about
He's coming.
he's coming.
Oh my god.
Heard like a cry or he's coming.
Who is this man? Who did this to you?
I heard heavy breathing.
Sounds like an abused woman. And she said that the sick are neglected in the institution.
Dude.
This is really weird. Yo, I'm telling you, I could have actually been her. Or it's something wrapping themselves in her identity.
Yeah, like
Yep.
knowing that that information would be dug up, which it already has.
Right.
What are the chances that I would just, like, see this?
The chances are is if you would have done your research to begin with properly, you would have probably known almost all this information. But again, this doesn't definitively, say aha to the whole situation. It is interesting that they have this type of information. I'll give them that. It is interesting, but it never acknowledged the fact that it was Sarah. Not once. They just assumed that it was. They made the presupposition on their own to determine, yes, that this thing that they're speaking to is a Sarah Frisbee. But the evidence that they've collected, doesn't actually determine that it's actually Sarah. So again, like, I don't think this is crazy at all. I think it's just, them not doing their research. And clearly, like, there's a record of a person there that is named, but that doesn't still explain, some of the statements that were made in that Estes method. But, with all seriousness, I still think it's demonic activity as to what they were experiencing, just based off of the responses and whatnot. But like I said, we only got a few minutes left, so let's try to finish strong here, and then I'll come back at the end of this and kind of give you my full thoughts here.
Why is she pretending to be a little girl, or is that just something that maybe people here like misinterpreted?
It sounds like she actually got in trouble for claiming these things. It sounds like she was silenced. I don't know a lot about her, but
It almost makes me want to like go back up there at some point. Like,
I almost think we have to now.
Go back up there and do one more.
No, wait. I have an idea.
that's Dakota's thing.
I have an idea. Someone goes in the mirrored room. The rest of you go into Sarah's room.
I have an idea. You go to the mirror room, we go to Sarah's room.
It's just that room, there's something about that room that I want to try out.
We didn't have this room in the packet, but the Devil's Toy Box is notoriously haunted here, and it's a room full of mirrors. So we're gonna go up back to Sarah's room, try to do some follow-up. But while we do that, we're gonna have Mike go to the Devil's Toy Box.
That wasn't his idea. That was mine.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mike.
Let's do it. Let's drop you off.
all right.
Oh, what the hell? This is so trippy.
Look at this.
What?
This is a trip session.
I feel like I'm in a disco ball.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing is I see about 100 Chelseas right now.
This is so...
Again, I just want to point out here real quick. In the beginning of this, I did explain pictures and mirrors. I'm not saying that that's what was done in this room. I have no idea why this room is even in the building. And obviously that they don't explain it because they don't probably have information on it at all. And if they do, you know, it's very minimal. But with that said, you know, hey, if it works, cool. If it doesn't, well, at least they tried, I guess.
Full trippy.
Weird.
All right, Mike, have fun in here. I don't know, man.
Okay.
We'll come get you in like 45 minutes to an hour.
That's great.
What the fuck?
Well, I did not think you'd be back here tonight.
No. Okay, so we're back in Sarah's room. We just found out some new information from the historical records about a woman named Sarah Frisbee. There still is a chance, though, that whatever this is trying to trick us, and it already knew that information.
If you're talking to a master...
If you're talking to a spirit, yes, they already have that information. A great biblical example of a spirit knowing an extensive amount of information would be, you know, the medium of Endor, and the fact that Saul had went to her to try to get answers. The problem is that he already had sinned against God, and God had left him by this point, and so he was trying to get counsel by trying to have a connection back to God. And so to basically to kind of summarize what I'm referring to here in 2 Samuel, I believe it is basically, with that said, he was not expecting for anything to work, and neither was the medium. But who did he connect with? Well, Samuel, because Samuel was the guy that basically anointed him as king. Here's the problem, though. Samuel said, "Why are you contacting me? For what?" And Saul basically in that moment says, "Well, God's left me, so I'm trying to get advice." And he goes, "Well, if God left you, how am I supposed to help?" Okay. And then he tells, Samuel goes on to tell Saul how he's going to die. And that's a future event. Okay. Something that you need to remind yourself of is that spirits in general are not from this realm. They're from the heavenly realm. Okay. So they're going to be able to know some aspects of past and present. So again, like, that doesn't really surprise me, you know, that they may be getting false information or, you know, information from other places. But one thing that's very foolish to think about, sorry, there's a bug in front of my face. The foolishness of this, right, is predetermining that the spirit doesn't know any of that information. I promise you, if it's a spirit, it knows past events and it also knows future events. Whether that's specifically or not. So again, it's just one of those points that I feel like has to be made in this moment, because again, like, I don't fully understand you know, why they would make some of the comments that they're making, but you know, I guess that's just from my point of view. But let's get back into it.
Manipulator, something that is evil, something that might be demonic, they're gonna know information like that to be able to be very tricky.
I'm so split. I'm not even on one side or the other. But I'm so intrigued.
We're gonna use the PS device again. This is the device
wonderful.
that we used in here earlier.
I feel like we got all of our responses with somebody on the bed. I know it sounds stupid, but I feel like we almost have...
Should I go sit on the bed?
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay, I'll go sit on the bed.
We'll still ask questions, but...
Okay, I'm sitting on the bed again.
Religion.
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 Dies.
Dies.
Religion.
Justice.
Justice.
Whoa.
None of those have anything to do with each other, but okay.
See, I don't think this is something good, guys.
I'm still so divided.
You think it's this girl saying
Yes,
religion
she wants
dies, it's
justice.
justice?
Sarah, if you're actually a woman, can you tell us that you're a woman? Because earlier you said girl.
I'm really trying to make your story told. If this is actually Sarah Frisbee, can you just give us a word that just makes us believe that it's you?
Ghost.
Ghost. You okay?
I'm just very uncomfortable.
Ghost.
Ghost again?
Weird.
What?
To me, it's only weird if you actually see that as actual evidence and proof. That's weird to me that you would even see that as any aspect of evidence. But you know, for them, that's how they roll, I guess.
How many people do you think were buried in the cellar?
Tell.
Tell?
Tell.
Can you tell us? Gosh, it's so weird.
Trap.
Trapped.
Yo!
Trapped.
Letter.
Letter. Did she write a letter to the...
Yes! Oh my gosh!
That was her stating that the superintendent is abusing people here and murdered 4 people.
Yes!
Again, that's a narrative, okay? You can't make a whole entire narrative off of something that is just one word, okay? Again, this is a false narrative in my opinion, because they're trying to justify what they've experienced, and they're also trying to justify the quote-unquote new information that they supposedly have, and I'm sorry, I don't buy it. You know.
Wait. You can't
Did
make
that
me
letter lead you to
Dang it, I've been doing this.
getting trapped and get you in trouble?
Who was the superintendent? What did he do?
Sarah, what do you think happened here?
Sadness.
Sadness.
What?
She wrote a letter basically stating about not only about the 4 potentially buried bodies, but also that the sick were neglected here.
Mm-hmm.
That is sadness.
Yep.
If it's not Sarah, this entity has the story down pretty packed.
That's what demons are known for. These evil entities are known for, is being...
Call it what it is, once again. But, you know, the other aspect of this is that, yes, they are known for that. They are known for manipulation. They are known for divide and conquer. They are known to kill, steal, and destroy. In every aspect, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or physically, or all 3. So, I'm not going to disagree with him there, but again, you can't make a whole presupposition off of literally one word with hardly any information. I just... Again, this is hard for me to take in, only because they're not giving you any context. Oh, they're saying, oh, well, you know, she did this and she did this and she did this. It's like, okay, well, that's common knowledge. Pretty much anybody can research that name and come up with that conclusion based off of where she was. But again, like, it's the narratives, guys, that to me kind of ruins a lot of this stuff. Like, just... You know, take everything with a grain of salt. You know, show us what you think might be evidence. And stop trying to make narratives, you know, that is deceiving people. Because again, like, he's like, oh, well, maybe, just maybe, you know, it might not be a demon. It might just be an entity. Guys, it's the same stinking thing. Okay? Same thing. There's not 2 different classifications here.
Master manipulators, tricksters.
Isn't that the goal of something evil?
I don't know. I can't.
We are divided.
I still don't.
Notice how the women are divided from the men, because the women are actually having an emotional response to the story that they just told you about said Sarah Frisbee. I don't believe the men are having that same emotional response. So again, like, that's kind of demonic activity 101, is that they expect you to have an emotional response. And generally speaking, that's also why you see a lot of more women generally, and this is a big general statement, that get up involved within a demonic activity. Because women are more emotional. Women are more caring and loving towards, something that has a tragic past, whereas men, a good majority of us anyway, look at it objectively. And no answer is wrong here, in my opinion. This isn't a bash to women. This isn't a bash to men. This is just, general understanding of how things work. But that would be why the women are having a different reaction than the men are, and they're saying, well, I just don't know. Well, it's a lot easier for a woman to have an emotional response to something like this than what a man does, because a man, generally speaking, compartmentalized. Am I saying that that's what's happening here? No, not necessarily, but that is why you're seeing more of an emotional response with these ladies versus the men, because the men are, at this point, pretty much convinced of what they perceive. So I think that's why you're seeing more of an emotional response from the women, because their emotions are being a factor in this particular situation. So just something to think about.
I believe you're actually Sarah. I think you're something else.
Attitude.
That's what I'm saying.
Every time you talk, Alex, it's like hates you.
That's why I don't think this is Sarah Frisbee. I don't think this is a little girl. I think this is something way more evil.
I don't think it's a little girl, but I do think there's a potential that it is Sarah Frisbee.
See what I mean? They're so conflicted on this. I think the men are able to put emotions aside in this situation, and the women are still acting on their emotions. Again, that's not a bad thing. That's honestly what women do. God has made them an emotional creature to be more caring and nurturing, whereas men, that's generally speaking, that's something that men are good at all, myself including. I'm not the greatest caregiver, but I do try to provide for my family and do what's right in the eyes of God when it comes to my masculinity and my household. And there's nothing wrong with either one of the things that I just said. It's just, I think generally that's why you're seeing the confliction in the room between the ladies and the men, because again, there's an emotional response, I think, for the women, because they want it to be her, and they want to basically help a victim, whereas the men are basically just calling it what it is. And again, to me, it is demonic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the women are going to see it that way, as we're probably about to find out here.
But it may not be.
I don't think we're going to find out.
I don't either.
I really don't think we are.
And even if it came through and said heart attack, then you could still argue that it's something trying to manipulate us.
Until it manifests right in front of our eyes, we won't know.
No.
And even then, you won't believe it anyway. So, it drives me nuts when people say stuff like that. But I'll wait until the end to say that. So let's finish seeing what happens here.
Because I don't believe it's Sarah.
8 minutes left. We can do this, guys. We can do this.
Do you guys think Mike's okay?
Oh yeah, Mike's all alone.
He's having the time of his life, Dad.
It might be.
That piece of equipment that he has in his hand is stupid expensive. Guys, don't waste your money on something like that. That device is almost $600 that he has. And all it really is the same thing as what they're using in the other room. Just my recommendation is don't spend any money on something that you can't verify it's actually authentic, one. And two, that in all honesty could give you a false reality in the sense of what information it puts out. But yeah, that obelisk is a complete waste of money in my opinion. So,
is there anyone in here with me? Anyone in here, if you would like to let me know you're here, this red light will be able to show me that you are here. You can just touch it like that, and then I'll know that you're here. How many spirits are around this room? Send. Okay, this thing just said Carol. That is my father-in-law's name. Send Carol. I don't know if it means my father-in-law. I wouldn't think so. That is really messed up. My sister-in-law, her name was Veronica. Reason. Vero, if that's you. Yes, I'm shooting a video. I just want to show everyone that you're here and you can talk to me. I want to know what your message is. Okay, Veronica was our sister-in-law who passed away of brain cancer. It's very weird to get Carol and Veronica because that's my father-in-law and my sister-in-law. And it just said loving. Okay, this is getting kind of strange. I mean, I'm not afraid to say I love you very much. That's great. It's getting colder in here now. So this thing is doing its temperature change.
Typically, when you're seeing temperature change, a lot of paranormal investigators see that as a presence being close. Again, temperature change can happen for a multitude of different reasons. Generally speaking, it's not necessarily paranormal either. So just keep that in mind, guys.
Thank you, Dakota, for warning me about that, because that would have been very terrifying. Information. I like that you gave me that information, Dakota. And it's doing it again. That's pretty crazy. Carol, Veronica, straight back to back. Like, that's a little unusual. I do connect with both of those names. My friends are in a room communicating with somebody. Returned. They returned to the room. Who are they speaking with?
Sarah, or whoever this is, what do you want us to tell people is in here? What do you want us to think is in here?
Whoa.
That was a loud bump. You want us out of here?
Run? You want us out of here?
Hallway.
Hallway.
Run and then hallway.
Okay.
What was
Okay, that was
Yo,
the
I'm
closet.
not kidding.
That was in the closet.
There's literally something behind me.
Oh my god.
No.
There's something in there.
Who's in the closet?
Are you behind?
To me, it's comical every single time to a degree, guys, because 95% of the time, they don't catch anything on camera. And they're literally asking it to make noises. So why are they so shocked and surprised when they in fact hear a noise when they've asked repeatedly for whatever's there to make a noise? That really bothers me, guys, like when they do that.
Behind us this whole time?
What was
Okay,
that? What was that?
Okay.
I'm gonna go in the closet.
Oh, good for you.
Brave boy.
Yeah, right now,
Dude,
just like
can we
a-
shut the door?
It seems like you keep cutting Alex off tonight and calling him names.
It's because I don't think this is actually Sarah, and you don't like me.
Yeah, because he's the only one that's not really being deceived right now, in my opinion.
How do I make you feel by asking you all these questions?
I think it's safe to say, regardless of how good of evidence we would get right now, like you'll never know.
No, I don't think we will.
There is.
Again, if you actually had a way to definitively say that within your worldview, then yeah, you would know. But considering their worldview is not exactly able to do that definitively, then yeah, they can totally say, oh, I don't know. But that's what makes Christianity great, because we do have as I've said, we do have an answer. We do have a response to that. So yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from. Like, there's no way to truly know, but if they would have said the gospel, I promise you they would have figured it out. No evil spirit, quote unquote, false god, quote unquote, or demon is going to respond well to the gospel. So once again, if they had that as a foundation, they would know that. But because they're not using that as a foundation to their investigation, then yeah, they're gonna have that response.
There's something highly intelligent here, though. Like, one of the most intelligent conversations we've ever had. Ever.
Well, we're gonna leave here soon. Is there anything else you want us to know? Is there anything else you can say to confuse us even more? Girl. Yo, that's the last thing you want us to know is girl? Are we back to you being a little girl again?
I mean, a girl is a girl.
Yeah, true. Of course.
Right?
Just to leave us on
That made absolutely no sense what she just said, but hey, whatever.
confusing note.
Right back to square one.
Yeah, seriously, right back to square one.
That was one of my favorite interactions of all time.
Well, whoever Sarah is, we're gonna leave. Thank you for communicating with us tonight. And if you are something evil, please do not follow us. Stay here.
Really? Again, they don't have a foundation to be able to even make that claim. Because clearly this is not coming from a Christian perspective. So you can't just say to some type of a demonic spirit, don't follow us home now. It's not going to work without the gospel, which some of these investigators have figured out the hard way. But we only got a couple of minutes left, so let's try to finish this out, and then we'll do final thoughts real quick.
Let's go get Mike. Let's see how he's doing. Coming in.
This thing is really weird.
How was it?
Like, this thing is the thing of the night. This thing right here. I got names like, Bianca, this is a big deal. The two names that came out, so I got Carol and Veronica.
That's my dad, and Veronica's my sister-in-law that passed away. Wow.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
But I felt really guilty coming here too at the same time as my dad's going through something medically.
That's really weird.
My dad and my sister-in-law.
That's weird. So that does conclude our night here at the Madison Seminary. I think we got way more communication than last time, and this was a whirlwind of a night. It was non-stop. And I'd just like to say thank you to you guys for joining us.
All right, I think we'll stop it there. So my final thoughts is that nothing that they were doing was definitive. I think they mean well. I do. I think all of these investigators, for the most part, mean well. The problem is that when you go in with any consistent worldview, it's revealed pretty quickly. It's definitely revealed pretty quickly, and to me, that's part of the problem. Is how quickly it reveals itself. So, like, for example, as I've said throughout the whole thing, if they would have just understood the gospel and they would have just said Jesus I'm telling you, something would have actually manifested in some capacity. That's just because demons have to answer ultimately to God. You know, they have to answer to the right hand of God, specifically Jesus, who is the king of everything in the heavenly realm, in the heavens and on earth. Jesus is the commander-in-chief of that. So without a doubt, like if you just go into a place that's known to be haunted, guys, and you proclaim the name of Christ, instantaneously you're going to know what you're dealing with. And that's the problem. That's why we keep doing these videos, guys, you know, is nobody that's in this world, or in this community rather, you know, if you want to call it a community, I guess, within the paranormal world are doing that. They go in there and they give you narrative after narrative after narrative. And granted, yeah, they're telling a story, but they're also revealing their worldview as they're doing that, because they're trying to justify it through their understanding. Not in a way that I would do it, which is by the revelation of God, by the authority of God, by the omnipotence of God, by the attributes of God. All of that, if they would have done that, they would have quickly realized that they were more than likely talking to a demon. But the problem with that is, like, it doesn't get you subscribers. It doesn't get you, you know, publicity. It doesn't get you any of that. What it does, it basically says, oh, well, you know, people in this community, if I were to go into a haunted place like this, for example, and I started explaining the Word of God, and I started going with what Scripture says about these different types of things, you would quickly realize that, one, it's not a very good story that I'm telling, because it's not my story to begin with. And two, I don't feel like people would resonate with that, because they want me to show you, they would want me to show you what they're showing you. You know, things that go bump in the night, you know, try to build a story, and it's not a story for them to build. It's Jesus Christ, you know, it's, and that's the other aspect of Christianity as well. Like, Christianity does have a category for everything, all things supernatural, which is why, you know, we're doing these types of videos. That's why we're doing what we're doing, guys, is the fact that we want to make it clear for you all that if you were to share the gospel, this video would have been a total of maybe 15 minutes. Okay? It wouldn't be over an hour. And then you have my commentary as well that's adding on to that, which, you know, I apologize if I make too many comments sometimes, but I'm trying to make sure you guys have context. I really am. It is so easy to be manipulated in this world, in the paranormal world. It's so easy to you know, believe every single aspect of what they're saying. But simultaneously, one of the things that I encourage people to do is think for yourself. The only reason why they said that they got EVPs is because they told you what they thought it was saying, and subconsciously you're going to hear the same thing. So again, like, an EVP isn't necessarily a definitive answer when all I heard was globbity globbity globbity, and then they're like, oh, well, it said this, and then they put it on the screen, so you're subconsciously going to say, yeah, that's what it said. That's just what they do. And the fact that they use old technology with some things, and then, you know, they have these devices that are like $600, and essentially it's not even really that useful of a device. You know, I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced with those different things. What I am convinced with, as I said, is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if we were to go into, like I said, one of these haunted places, you know, supposed haunted places, you know, it would be a very different conversation. But, you know, I mean, no disrespect to these guys, you know, clearly they have, like I said, a huge following. You know, I've actually seen worse. I've heard worse. You know, these guys are actually not that bad at their job. But I would encourage you to only look at it as entertainment. This isn't something to necessarily base your whole worldview off of. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.